The story of the American Civil War. From the battlefields to the home front. Chapter 1: The Road to War. The American Civil War did not erupt overnight. It was the result of decades of mounting tension between the northern and southern states. These tensions were rooted in economic differences, cultural divides, and most of all, disagreements over slavery. While the North moved toward industrialization, the South remained reliant on an agricultural economy built on slave labor. Slavery was the central issue that drove the North and South apart. Abolitionists in the North pushed for the end of slavery, calling it immoral and outdated. In contrast, Southern leaders defended it as essential to their way of life. This moral conflict was reflected in newspapers, churches, and political debates across the country. Political compromises tried to keep the country united, but often only delayed the inevitable. The Missouri Compromise and the Compromise of 1850 attempted to balance the interests of free and slave states. However, each new territory added to the United States reopened the debate over whether slavery should be allowed there. The Kansas-Nebraska Act intensified the conflict and led to violent clashes known as Bleeding Kansas. The rise of new political forces further fractured the nation. The Republican Party, founded on anti-slavery principles, gained support in the North. Meanwhile, the South saw the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860 as a direct threat. Many Southern states believed that his presidency would lead to the abolition of slavery and the collapse of their economy. Secession became the final option for many Southern leaders. Beginning with South Carolina, 11 states eventually chose to leave the Union. They formed the Confederate States of America, arguing that they had the right to self-govern. This act of rebellion was seen by the North as unconstitutional and a direct challenge to national unity. In response to secession, President Lincoln made it clear that he would preserve the Union at all costs. He refused to recognize the Confederacy and emphasized that the Union must remain whole. His stance set the stage for an inevitable conflict, as neither side was willing to back down. The country braced for war, with citizens unsure of what lay ahead. The road to war was paved with compromises, conflicts, and choices that deepened the divide. Despite warnings and calls for peace, the differences proved too vast to reconcile. By the time the first shots were fired at Fort Sumter, both North and South were fully committed to a fight that would shape the future of the nation. The Civil War had begun. The growing divide between North and South. In the decades leading up to the Civil War, the United States.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?